It is February 8th, 2021, lesson 100. So it's been 100 days since I've started A Course in Miracles. And my part in God's plan for salvation, my part is essential to God's plan for salvation. Okay. So, we have learned a little bit about our purpose, okay, and how our purpose is something that is self-transcendent beyond ourselves. So let's just say that God, at the beginning of time, if there was time in God's perspective, said, what is the most difficult thing that I can do? Destroy myself. Why? Because I am all-powerful, all-knowing, and omnipresent. So I'm everywhere, I know everything, and I'm very powerful. So, destroying myself would mean that I wouldn't exist. But then, that could not be possible because I'm God, okay? And I would know what would happen, so I might as well do it. But yet, I don't know what would happen if I did do this. This would be the most challenging thing that I can do. Nonetheless, let's see if I can still be everywhere all the time. So, Big Bang. Okay, now we're here at this point in life where everything led up to this point. Okay, 13.8 billion years. Okay, so if the world was created once again from the quantum influx of the universe, then it would lead back to this point once again. Okay, which is very similar to understanding potentiality and reality. Okay, you can't access certain skills, capabilities, information, potentiality a moment after or before, right? It's always in the moment. So the present moment is always allowing us to augment the perfection of what God is. This was the best way that we can fathom the idea of what God is. Okay, we are, in essence, the only way that God could experience itself. So, we are now seeing that we all have a purpose, right? Whether your purpose is to draw, be a football coach, you're looking at being a father, mother, it all comes down to who you are in essence. And that allows us to learn what we're supposed to do, which is feel happiness in every single moment. Happiness is basically being able to experience our being. We are allowing ourselves to do that. Everything that stops us from doing that is basically what you would say an inhibitor. Okay, so we're starting to understand that it's synergetic, right? We feed source, source feeds us. Okay, and that's basically our part in this whole. Okay, every kindness is basically noted within the eternal archives of the universe. Okay, and every ill will act is also noted as well, right? Everything is balanced within life. So when we are looking once again at salvation, we're looking at liberation from this separate mindedness, especially when we're looking at being alone, afraid, guilty, and cut off from the source of God. Okay, and we're trying to reverse that, and we start with our mind. Okay, being able to reverse all the thoughts. Basically, as we see things, we have imposed some form of presuppositions, prejudices, past on there, and it makes it very difficult for us to see what is in front of us because, again, our mind is trying to generalize, distort, and delete information all the time. So when you're starting to understand that you're not the body, and that even trying to purify the body and trying to force it to behave is only doing so much, right? So you look at maybe the Christian I mean, it's kind of ironic, but nonetheless, you see that, like they're basically saying you have to be celibate, you can't do many things, and that starts creating some form of repression, okay? Because, again, we want to be able to forgive, and being able to forgive is more than just forgiving and not forgetting. It's literally forgiving for the entire thing of what you have experienced and any injustices, grievances, sins committed against you, basically. So, your perfect will is to have perfect happiness. And for everything to work, your joy must be complete. So, you have to be complete in yourself. You can't give what you do not have, okay? So, when you start to understand this, then God starts to send you individuals, okay? Now, it's very important that you understand as you are doing this that it's not important to help everybody, okay? Because everybody's not going to be willing and able and ready to take the information that's going on, right? Of course, you are having this moment with me because you are ready, willing, and able to do this. There's a lot of people that do not want to face their demons. They even ask for help, and they are reluctant and resistant against it as well. So if you made it with me for the last, let's say, 50 videos that I've done, then this is what is occurring, okay? You have chosen to be aware and commit yourself to a better life. That's the only way that you can do this. Again, it's only a small percentage, right? It's a bell curve. We have 80%, 10%, 10%. And we are technically would be on the right side of the bell curve. So we are doing what 90% of people aren't doing, right? So when you are seeing these individuals that are coming to you, right, they hear God calling and your happy laugh. Okay, so the best way I've learned to describe this is that you have emotional contagion, or the law of transference, or these mirror neurons, right? Whatever you feel, people are going to feel. Pheromones, they're going to smell it. If you're fearful, lustful, angry, right? Whatever you feel is going to be a reflection out in the world. As you see the world, so are you. So if you're sad, then of course you are going to grieve. You're going to have these, mindsets that the world is against you. So when you have these grievances, right, you have a huge demand on people. So when we're looking at the hierarchy of needs, we have our deficiency needs, right, because we haven't really built up a positive reinforcement for our self-esteem. We've only negative reinforced ourselves for our, self-esteem. So we always have a demand for others. And it's very difficult for others if they don't have this constant compassion, right? Effortless compassion. That's very rare because there's not a lot of people in the world that can do that for themselves. So if you find someone that unconditionally loves you, God bless their soul, okay? And I'm very grateful for the people that have unconditionally loved me for a lot of the things I put them through, because I've been very unkind, and in turn that is the same idea of as you bleed on others. So the whole idea is that when you laugh, the whole world laughs with you, and then when you cry alone. Okay, so without your joy, his joy is incomplete. And when we're talking about him, we're talking about God. I like thinking about it, the universe, the universal womb, so her, right? It doesn't really matter, but nonetheless, again, if we are going back to source, we are going back to the, there's an expansion and there's now a contraction to unify back to one, then that means we have to be able to attract that which we are. So if we are trying to attract lust, anger, and pride, then it's not going to work, because again, we are in the hyperactivity, there's a force against force. It's not going to be possible for us to be joyous, because again, we have expectations out in the world, and we're going to be sadly disappointed once that happens. Okay, so being able to understand that when you are sad, your light is dim. You're not able to actually light another person's candle, right? And this is where we fail in our purpose. So everybody's going to have their own purposes. Everybody's going to have what you would call their own intelligences. So Howard Gardner had this idea that we have different intelligences. We have people that are existentially intelligent, maybe like me or something like that. I don't know if that's really what you would say. Intrapersonal and interpersonal. So people that are really good at social skills, mathematics, naturalists that are really good with nature, animals. What else? Kinesthetically, right? We're looking at individuals that are very blessed in terms of skills. So you saw the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is one of those individuals that, although he had so much to go through, that potential is within him. Okay, so for us to know what our purpose is, we have to know what we are strong at. Okay, and then our life is going to guide us in different ways. So we're always going to have this, fortune favors the bold. So it's very important that you see that, again, everything is working for you because it's happening through you. So once we start putting ourselves in certain situations where it may be challenging or difficult, then of course we start being activated because we're getting turned on, right, in different ways. And in essence, that's all we're trying to do, right? We're trying to find our purpose and just live the happiest life that we can be. And then just share that with others. That's all we're trying to do. We share that with loved ones. We share that with strangers. We share that with our family. Share that with ourselves, right? Life is asking us what the meaning of life is, and being able to know what your true talents and potentialities are, and self-actualization. So again, as we're going through the process of ascending, we're now seeing that, self-actualization is a byproduct of self-transcendence. But yet, you can go through the whole process of earning it. Okay, sometimes we have to earn it. I know I did, right? I didn't get to this point and failed miserably. And of course, my mentor, David Meltzer, says you didn't fail because you learned. So, again, it's the whole idea, you don't really fall unless you don't get up. Okay? So being able to see what you are actually made of sometimes means going through the ranks of things and earning your stripes. And people think that is very meaningful. At this point in my life, I don't, but I did it, so I can't knock it, right? Can't knock it if you don't try it. I can't recommend anything that I haven't tried, right? Because you're never better or greater than the experiences you haven't had, nothing that you haven't experienced. So that's why I've done a lot of things to make sure that I know who I am. Okay, and if you guys ever have questions, and of course, I'm always here. I've experienced a lot of things, I've tested a lot of things, and that's what makes me someone, I guess, that God has chosen to be a leader in helping people find their own purpose by being an example, okay, practicing what I preach. Mostly what I'm doing is trying to help you guys heal, because all these grievances have caused the pain and the attachments have caused the suffering, and that's really what I've done. Why? Because I've always been very empathetic. That's what allows me to be who I am, right? It is something within me that has been very difficult for me to really understand, but the more that I've understood it, the more that I was able to actually love myself. So if I can share that with people, then I always will, no matter what. Because whether, this is my last day or not thinking like that, but I put something out in the world, man, and that means something. So I'm creating my legacy this way somehow. And I love you guys, and that's why I always want to do this, because I love you so much, and that's what I try to express, because this is my joy in life. So my part in God's plan is very essential. Okay, I'm out and about. What I just talked about. Peace.